This film is sponsored by New York Life and its dedicated agents, proud sponsors of NFL Team Highlight Films. New York Life, the company you keep.
Gentlemen, we don't lose in this stadium. We do not lose here. 45 guys for 60 minutes, flying around and having some fun. Let's go, we gotta beat them now, let's go. I'll tell you what, it can't be a one-time thing, it's gotta be every time.
In 1992, Pittsburgh area native Bill Cowher returned to his hometown and watched his city come alive with a renewed sense of pride in its football team. A new generation became part of the team's best regular season in more than a decade. A season built on high intensity and high energy football.
Hey, listen, don't let anything lay in the locker room. Just go out there, let's have some fun, playing football our style. We control the tempo of this football game today. Now let's go.
The snap to O'Donnell. O'Donnell cranks, throws. Downfield, the ball is caught brilliantly by Ernie Mills. He is into the end zone for a touchdown.
And he got the big six.
We gotta get a killer instinct in this. Put teams down, get this game in our pocket early. Let's go.
And a deep handoff going to Foster, comes over the left side of 15, the 10 to 5. Look out, there he goes. Touchdown. Foster breaking over the left side, galloping, angling out to the left just a bit, eluding everybody in the secondary. Foster shook loose and ran like a demon.
We gotta rush the quarterback relentlessly. Relentlessly, let's get after their ass and stop them. Let's go. Let's rush! Rush! That's a big play, big man. That's a big play.
The rejuvenated Steelers captured their first AFC Central Division title since 1984. But for this team and its fans, 1992 was just the first step toward even bigger things. The first sign of a new beginning. The Bill Cowher era began with the toughest of tests. An opening day trip to the Astrodome against the division rival Oilers, a team most experts had picked to run away with the AFC Central race. Early on, those experts appeared to be right. But what no one had counted on was the surprising resolve of these young Steelers and some surprising play calls from their young coach.
And Mark Royals standing at his own 40. Oh, the rush, and he's passing downfield. And he completes the pass, pulled in by Warren Williams, galloping to 20 to 15 to 5. Whoa-wee! That was Royals throwing the pass. Williams was wide open over the middle, and Williams takes it to the Houston 1. That was absolutely a great call.
The aggressive Steelers turned the game around and turned the afternoon into a nightmare for Houston quarterback Warren Moon. The Steelers forced Moon into 5 interceptions, 2 each by number 26 Rod Woodson and safety Larry Griffin, who second of the day clinched the comeback victory.
Moon takes the snap, rolls a little to the right, throws, picked off down inside the 5, and here we go again. Coming up the field, Larry Griffin over the 30, hit and knocked down at the 33-yard line, and mobbed by his teammates.
Going down to Houston and being the underdog as we were, to come out with a victory in a place where not many people gave us a chance, I certainly think gave us some confidence. And as we talked about the expectation of winning, it certainly gave credence to that and kind of maybe was the building block for us to get something started.
O'Donnell giving that ball to Foster. Big hole through the middle of 20 to 50. He's headed in. Down 5. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
The following week, it was Barry Foster who kept the Steelers rolling, with 190 yards rushing and 2 scores.
Running the right, coming down the sideline to 40 to 35 to 30. Running for dear life to 20 to 15 to 10 to 5. Hit into the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
1 week later in Sundrent, San Diego, it was quarterback Neil O'Donnell who shone the brightest. O'Donnell ran for 1 score and threw for 2 more as Pittsburgh dominated the eventual AFC West champions.
O'Donnell firing, and there's Cooper. Cooper takes it for the TV. Neil O'Donnell on the nose, and it is a touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Oh, you betcha!
At 3-0, the Steelers were off to their best start since 1979 and had become the biggest early season surprise in the NFL. The Steelers' early success had the eyes of the football world focused on Pittsburgh, as previously unknown players introduced themselves to the rest of the NFL.
Welcome to the show. My name's Barry Foster. Let's see what happens.
No Steeler made quicker strides from obscurity to stardom than third-year running back Barry Foster, the new workhorse in Pittsburgh's power running attack. It was a new offense that featured big linemen like 290-pound tackle John Jackson, meeting defenders head-on and powering open a rushing lane. In the new system, Foster became the Steelers' most valuable player, carrying the ball 390 times for 1,690 yards, both Steelers records. And behind the blocks of fullback Merrill Hodge and guard Duval Love, Foster became a Pro Bowl starter as the AFC's leading rusher. Center Dermontti Dawson joined Foster in the Pro Bowl, anchoring a line that successfully blended the experience of Tunjilkin with the youth of Justin Strelzik and Pro Bowl guard Carlton Hasselrig. Power blocking and power running became the foundation of the Steelers' offense, and when it was working, it made scoring look easy.
Goal line. You okay? You want to score a touchdown?
Yeah.
Well, then go.
First down 10. Hand off to Foster through the middle. He's open. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. And they could have driven a truck through that hole.
It's a system that puts a premium on running the football, which is an offensive line we love to do. When the offense is clicking, it opens everything up, the passing game, the running game. And when you can play offense like that, you can dictate the flow of a game. And I think that's why we've had the success that we've had.
The Steelers' offense developed a resiliency that allowed it to bounce back from tough situations and regain control. Its short-range passing game remained effective even in the most difficult conditions, as Neil O'Donnell set a team record for completion percentage on the way to his first Pro Bowl. O'Donnell spread the ball to a variety of emerging young targets, like tight end Adrian Cooper, Leroy Thompson, Ernie Mills, and leading receiver Jeff Graham, number 81. At midseason, the Steelers had an opportunity to showcase their offense 2 straight weeks in the primetime spotlight. The first came on a Monday night in Week 7, when Pittsburgh broke a 2-game losing streak by dominating the Bengals.
O'Donnell has time. Going downfield to Stone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. They threaded the needle.
Dwight Stone caught 2 touchdown passes in the shutout victory. And 1 week later, before a Sunday night national TV audience, the Steelers would truly find out how far they'd come against the heavily favored Chiefs and the Tomahawk Chop.
7:19 to play in the first quarter. Barker's kick. Wobbly, not too good. And Up comes Woodson, bobbles it at the 22, gets it back up at the 25, the 30. Here he comes. Up over the 50, the 45, the 40, the 30, down to the 20. He's going 10, 5, touchdown Pittsburgh. Woodson came right through Kansas City like water through a sieve.
Rod Woodson opened the floodgates, and the Steelers poured through all night.
Foster barrels over the right side into the end zone. Touchdown Pittsburgh. What a move by Foster. What a job by the line up ahead of him. Again, Foster's the lone setback, and a fake by O'Donnell. Fires the pass into the end zone for the touchdown.
The Steelers had proven they could play with anybody. And while they had caught fire in Kansas City, their season would reach the boiling point the following week in a showdown with the Oilers.
One of them days, brother. You one of them days. Got a game you want to play in here.
With both teams at 5-2, this was a battle for control of the division. And for a while, it appeared those experts who liked Houston were right all along. But the Steelers had come back against these Oilers once before, and they certainly weren't about to let go of first place that easily. Number 78 Gary Howe helped lead the defensive charge and fuel the emotions of the most vocal Pittsburgh crowd in more than a decade.
I tell you, this football crowd it is playing as big a factor in this game as the Steelers defense right now.
Out of the slot, Mills over to the right. Fake by O'Donnell, and he fires it to Cooper in the end zone for the touchdown.
While the Steelers' defense shut the Oilers down, Neil O'Donnell and the offense just kept coming. Eric Green's first down conversion on 3rd and 16 was the key play in Pittsburgh's drive toward the go-ahead score.
Let's go, that's it! That's the way to move it!
Oh, get that big 6.
And O'Donnell with a play fake to the left. This direction, fires into the end zone. And the touchdown as he hits Green down at the end line. Beautiful fake by O'Donnell.
The Steelers held on. And for the rest of the season, the AFC Central would belong to Pittsburgh.
Hey, baby, respect, baby! Respect! We own the division, baby! It's our God!
Here we go, swing on squat! One play at a time, communicate, make sure you and Darren are on the same page. Fly around and hit some people, have some fun, play with some high intensity.
By midseason, the enthusiasm of the Steelers' young first-year coach had become as big a hit with the fans as it had with the players.
Let's go now. We got it covered. We got it covered. Read the ends. Come hard backside, Charles. You can make the play.
Cowher's intensity was transferred to special teamers like Warren Williams and Jerry Olszewski. Charles Davenport and number 99, Levon Kirkland, also showed the same passion that their coach had once displayed during his special teams career.
The best coverage team in the National Football League.
He wants to go out there and play. I mean, he's a young guy, he's a big guy, aggressive, and he just sometimes it seems like he just wants to run out in that field and make a tackle and hit someone. That's the type of personality he does have.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, when we call Don, you get outside the tight end. If you want to get a two-point stance, you get where you feel like you can rush the quarterback. You understand? Yeah. Rush the quarterback. Let's go now. Relentless, Greg. You gotta keep going. You gotta be relentless. Just gotta keep going, Jay. You gotta keep going. Gotta keep rushing. Gotta keep rushing.
Linebacker Greg Lloyd was nothing but relentless. Lloyd led the team in forced fumbles, recoveries, and sacks, and seemed to possess a built-in radar that allowed him to seek and destroy whoever had the ball. Lloyd made his second trip to the Pro Bowl, and in 1992 was complemented by another lightning-quick linebacker, number 57, Gerald Williams. In his first full year as a starter, Williams became a defensive sparkplug, and other young defenders were called on to play with the same fire.
I want you to challenge your ass when we're involved in man-to-man. You understand me? Yes. I don't give a shit if you get beat. Challenge.
The Steelers' secondary constantly challenged opponents, as safety Carnell Lake made a big impact with an all-pro caliber season. And Pro Bowl cornerback Rod Woodson added another dimension to his game with a career-high 6 sacks. Woodson also maintained his status as one of the premier coverage cornerbacks in the NFL, and his play overshadowed the consistency of fellow cornerback D.J. Johnson. Richard Shelton and Sammy Walker were other big contributors, but the most pleasant surprise was free safety Darren Perry, number 39, the Steelers' Rookie of the Year with a team-high 6 interceptions. Overall, Pittsburgh's intensity created a bounty of opportunity, as the Steelers led the NFL with 43 takeaways. The Steelers constructed major roadblocks on their opponent's road to the end zone, as no team in football allowed fewer touchdowns than Pittsburgh.
O'Brien is back again. Uh-oh, his pass is picked off. This is Larry Griffin coming down the field with the ball. He's to the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
The Steelers' opportunistic defense helped turn the tide in several ball games, including a Week 10 contest with the Lions.
Kramer takes the snap. He is hit, he fumbles the football. It's loose, it's scooped up, it's loose again. And down the field they go, and running with the football, Carnell Lake.
Yoy, and double yoy. What another big play by Rod Woodson. It's manna from heaven.
I formation. Brister lobs him into the end zone for the touchdown. The ball taken by Tim Jordan. Nobody covering him out to the left.
The victory was the start of a 4-game winning streak that saw different heroes emerge each week. Against the Colts, Gary Anderson hit on 3 of 3 field goals, and Barry Foster rushed for 168 yards to post his club record 8th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Number 34, Leroy Thompson, helped the Steelers roll up more than 250 yards on the ground. And the following week, it was Bengals quarterback David Klingler who was constantly on the run. Donald Evans, Kenny Davidson, Aaron Jones, and nose tackle Gerald Williams were part of a relentless front that pounded Klingler in waves and tallied a team record 10 sacks. Number 50, David Little, had 3 sacks alone, and the team's leading tackler, Hardy Nickerson, added another. The Steelers' record-setting show of defensive muscle was complemented by some heads-up special teams.
And here's a bad snap, and I'm not sure what happened, but the Steelers have the football, and firing down the field, there's a touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Charles Davenport fielded it on a dead run, and it was clear sailing all the way. Touchdown Steelers, the Big 6.
The 4th straight victim was Seattle, as the Steelers' defense once again shut an opponent down to help the offense overcome a 4th-quarter deficit.
To give to Foster, running to the left, drives to the goal line, into the end zone, touchdown!
It was week in, week out team consistency that had kept the Steelers atop the AFC Central. And in the regular season finale, they rallied behind backup quarterback Bubby Brister for yet another crucial victory. In his 3rd straight start in place of the injured Neil O'Donnell, Brister completed 18 of 25 passes. But another Steeler was looking to add to an even more impressive set of numbers. Over the course of the season, Barry Foster had posted an amazing 11 100-yard rushing games, one short of tying an NFL record. And so on this final regular season Sunday, Foster chased history, and late in the fourth quarter, he ran it down.
And he gives to Foster. Now he gets a block, comes to the outside, and he's running upfield across the 25. And that's going to take him over 100 yards. He has 12 100-yard rushing games this season. That ties the all-time NFL record set in 1984 by Eric Dickerson.
The Steelers' 11-5 record was their best since 1979. And with home field advantage throughout the playoffs, Pittsburgh seemed primed for the postseason. The city was alive for Pittsburgh's first home playoff game since 1982, and the Steelers were determined to make it worth a wait. Barry Foster rushed for 104 yards, but overall the Steelers failed to play up to the potential they had shown all season, and the mistakes proved too much to overcome.
O'Donnell is back, and O'Donnell's hit fumbles the football, and the Bills say we have it. It is Buffalo's ball.
That's unbelievable.
The Steelers simply let too many opportunities slip through their grasp.
And Wright throwing to the far side, almost picked off by Shelton. Oh, Shelton almost had it.
The playoff loss was a painful reminder of how difficult it is to maintain a consistent level of excellence. And it is a lesson the Steelers can build on in the upcoming season.
We all have to have a sense of where we want to go, and once we've accomplished that, I think we need to set higher goals. That's what allows you to get better and never become status quo, because I've always believed that no one ever stays the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, and so I think the only way you can maintain that drive is to have goals.
Bill Cowher's goals are no different than that of his predecessor, Chuck Noll, whose 4 Super Bowl victories have earned him a place as a 1993 inductee into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Noll helped electrify a generation of Steelers fans, and that same electricity has been reborn in a new generation.
You know, it feels great to play games at home because it's like the old days from what I hear in the 70s when they were dominating back then. The city of Pittsburgh's on fire. These people are really pumped up for the season, and we're a very young football team. I believe we're going to get better in time.
You want emotion? Watch his football team play football for 60 minutes.
Hey.
We'll show you emotion. We got to get people to the ball, ripping at the ball, stopping the first down. Then we got to challenge them. Challenge them, challenge them. Hey, Barry, killer instinct. Let's go. I sense a lot of pride here, man. I'll tell you what, you're the best in the National Football League. That's the way you got to think.
In 1992, the Steelers did take a big step toward being the best in the NFL. But they must continue to move forward in 1993. They are young, explosive, and sparked by the NFL Coach of the Year. And they are striving for even bigger things just ahead. Yes, 1992 was just a start for the Steelers and their fans. One remarkable season that successfully signaled a new beginning.
Hi, I'm Steve Sable. You know, 1992 did mark a new beginning for the Steelers as Bill Cowher sparked the team to its first division title in nearly a decade. Pittsburgh now has a new level of expectations for its football team, and the question is, will Cowher and the Steelers be able to meet those expectations in the upcoming season?
The thing that we have to do is kind of build off of last year, the mentality that was established, the expectation that we created for ourselves, and then hopefully the experience of being in the playoffs will be something that we can build off of.
Let's unleash it for 60 minutes, one play at a time. We control the tempo. Let's go.
In 1993, the Steelers' young defense will have to be just as aggressive, just as swarming, and play with just as much emotion as it did in 1992.
Once you jump it, you can't get in the backfield. When your guy runs a double move, you got to be ready to collide him. That's how you got to play it.
The Steelers' secondary has become one of the most physical in the game. Number 37, Carnell Lake, has Pro Bowl potential, and Rod Woodson is well established as one of the NFL's premier cornerbacks. Woodson's speed on the blitz has added a new dimension to the Pittsburgh defense, and his coverage skills are hard to beat. Another star may be emerging in the secondary in second-year man Darren Perry, number 39, who had a team-high 6 interceptions as a rookie last season. But no Steelers defender may be counted on in 1993 more than Pro Bowl linebacker Greg Lloyd.
I'm going to tell you why we play down. We play down because we're in a chance of playing 2 deep. We got 3 wide receivers, and we had a package for Yoki if they're starting to run the ball or if they came out in regular people. That was the plan going in.
Lloyd will have to step up his game even further to make up for the losses of free agent linebackers Hardy Nickerson and Gerald Williams. Of course, Lloyd will get some help from the signing of former Rams All-Pro Kevin Green, whose impact will be felt both on the field and on the sidelines.
If you ain't selling out now, take it on in. If you ain't selling your ass out, take your ass on in. Now get after the ball. Tattoo somebody. You.
Hey, Barry! Barry! Hey, Barry! Let's pour it. Let's go. Speed!
And the handoff is given to Foster down on the 35, the 40, and over the 50.
Offensively, Cowher and the Steelers are looking for another big season from workhorse running back Barry Foster, who took the league by storm in 1992 by rushing for nearly 1,700 yards. Foster has become the catalyst of the Pittsburgh offense, and he'll once again be running behind an ever-improving line that includes Pro Bowlers DeMonte Dawson and Carlton Hasselrig. The Steelers will also be counting on the steady improvement of their passing game. Free agent Mike Tomczak was signed to back up Neil O'Donnell, who is coming off a highly efficient season that earned him a trip to the Pro Bowl. O'Donnell should only get better in his second full year as a starter, as he continues to develop a rapport with young receivers like Ernie Mills and number 81 Jeff Graham, along with tight ends Eric Green and Adrian Cooper. Overall, the young Steelers did a lot of growing up in 1992, but they won't be sneaking up on anyone in 1993.
And we give to O'Donnell fakes it. O'Donnell runs out to the left. O'Donnell goes in for the touchdown. Crossed them up.
Now people are after us. They know we won last year, and it's going to be a battle. Now the hard part starts. And we surprised a lot of teams last year, but that's part of it. It's how long you can continue to win. So I'm really looking forward to this coming year and going out there and winning another title.
Neil O'Donnell and the Steelers are excited about the upcoming season, and who can blame them? Steeler fans are bubbling over with a renewed passion for their team, a passion that hasn't been seen since the Steelers' Super Bowl seasons of the 1970s. Back then, one of the men most responsible for the Steelers' success was their head coach of 23 years. Of course, I'm speaking of Chuck Noll. Noll's remarkable coaching achievements helped earn him a place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And we'll take a look back at his quiet road to Canton. Plus, we'll remember one of the fiercest competitors from Noll's steel curtain defense, linebacker Jack Lambert. Here's a look back at Jack Lambert and Chuck Noll, a couple of Steelers classics.
Legend has it, he ate glass and pounded his head against lockers before waging war. He announced on a Monday night game that he hailed from Buzzard's Breath, Wyoming. He decreed that all quarterbacks should wear dresses. He was Count Dracula in cleats, the remorseless linebacker for Pittsburgh, Transylvania.
Double wing right. Ace! That'll cool your ass off.
In high school, John Harold Lambert was a skinny quarterback and sharp-elbowed basketball player. However, in 1974, the Steelers picked him as a backup outside linebacker. Ham and Russell were fixtures there, but when inside linebacker Henry Davis was injured, a terror was unleashed. He stood 6'3" and weighed only 204 as a rookie, the exact size as Jet wide receiver Al Toon. Still, his toothpick legs always got his toothless face to the ball. In a game of angles and position, he never took the wrong step, and he was always the most focused man on the field. Every season, he led the team in tackles. For 9 straight years, he bashed his way to the Pro Bowl. Eventually, the kid the Steelers took a chance on was chewing out all pros like Jack Ham.
The middle linebacker is supposed to be the leader. I could never understand why some people had to be motivated. And I tried not to yell and scream too much, but sometimes when we were playing very poorly, you know, I felt that a few words were necessary, and that's usually when I did my yelling and screaming.
Interference! Oh, you asshole!
I never looked at professional football as a popularity contest. I look at it as my job. I don't care that my opponents like me. I care that they respect me, though.
Number 58 considered it his job to hit someone on every play. When one of his teammates received an out-of-bounds cheap shot, Lambert had another job to perform. He raced the length of the bench to exact the punishment. He thought it his duty to teach the Browns a lesson because as a kid he loved them, and they didn't draft him. But it was in Super Bowl X when Captain Jack first earned his reputation as an intimidator and enforcer.
It wasn't something that I sat down and planned to do. You know, I didn't think about things out there, I just reacted. And the Cliff Harris incident in the Super Bowl out there, I never thought about doing something like that, but I saw him whacking Roy on the helmet, I turned around, and I just grabbed him and threw him down, and it just happened just like that. I think sometimes I got the feeling people thought I was a dirty football player, and that always bothered me because I never went out and tried to hurt anybody or anything like that. Now, I could play any way you wanted to play it. I mean, we had some guys out there that from time to time that wanted to do some things that weren't legal, and I can do that too if I have to. But I'd rather play by the rules and play fairly. But I don't think that you intimidate. You know, there's no cowards out there on that field, buddy.
Today, there's a new field for Jack Lambert, and that's in Alliance, Ohio, where he spends his summers molding intelligent linebackers and responsible citizens.
Good stretch today, good stretch. Last full day of camp, we don't want any pulled muscles now.
Come on, guys, gotta be quiet today. Low.
All right. Good job. That's what you've got to go over in your mind every single time. When you say 5-2 mo, cover one, and break, you don't go stand at the line of scrimmage and see if there's any pretty girls in the stands over there, okay? You've got to be thinking out here. You can be average if you want to be, but if you want to be a great football player, you've got to concentrate and you've got to have the right intensity, okay? A couple times out here yesterday when we were playing, some of you guys, and I got a little bit angry, but I get excited when I play. You got to get excited when you play football. You got to, all right? You got to be excited. If you don't want to get excited out here, then you got to go play tennis or something like that. You should take pride in the fact that you're one of the very few people in the world that can do what you're doing, play in the National Football League. And you should go out here and try and be the best you can be, you know, game after game. And hopefully when it's all over, you can look back on your career and be proud of it, you know, as I am of mine.
He grew up on the east side of Cleveland, the son of a butcher. He's a studious, self-motivated, self-made man. His coaching genius was an ability to recognize those very traits in the people he chose for his teams. But more than anything else, self-effacing best describes Charles Henry Noll, the pure teacher who was most proud of his pupils' accomplishments.
In terms of satisfaction, I think there's satisfaction in watching young men grow and develop the skills that it takes to play professional football. That's probably my deepest satisfaction.
There were 209 victories, 16 postseason wins, 4 Super Bowl triumphs. Staggering numbers when you consider Chuck Noll's simple but sound philosophy.
You have to get your message across to the people. It's not the X's and O's that are involved in the game, but it's the people. You have to have good people to be successful. The players on the field being the best that they can be is the thing that's going to make it go. And you have to have people that when they come together, they help one another. They help one another be better than they may be individually.
Chuck had that vision and what we wanted to get accomplished, and the players bought into it, and it was very simple. It wasn't magical stuff. We weren't trying to trick people. It was basic, fundamental things that you grew up with, that every coach had drilled into your head, but it all came to a light.
That light first began to shine at Dayton College, and later with the Cleveland Browns. Under Paul Brown's tutelage, Noll learned the art of winning as one of pro football's last two-way players.
Going all out for victory, New York's Charlie Connerly passes from his own goal line. But Cleveland linebacker Charlie Noll intercepts, and he skips 14 yards to it.
Winning followed Noll as an assistant coach in San Diego and Baltimore before he took over a Steeler franchise that had known nothing but defeat.
Well, he came in with a team that was in a shambles. It was just it had been destroyed for 3 or 4 different years, and our confidence was way down. And he started the first speech by saying, I've analyzed the game films for the last 4 or 5 years. I know what the problem is. And you could have heard a pin drop. What is the problem? And he said, the problem is that you're not very good players. I mean, he just said you can't run fast enough, you can't jump high enough. You're nice guys, you try hard, nothing wrong with your effort, but you're just not very good. So I'm going to replace most of you.
We didn't have singleness of purpose. We didn't have the idea that we wanted to come in there and be the best. Eventually, we were able to put together a group that had that feeling.
Professor Noll recruited talented individuals and turned them into the Rhodes Scholars of professional football. They were men who needed little guidance. But oddly enough, it was probably the shortest pep talk in the history of the NFL that helped Pittsburgh make NFL history. That event took place in December of 1974, 2 days after the Oakland Raiders stunned the Miami Dolphins in the playoffs, earning them the right to play Pittsburgh for the AFC Championship.
John Madden had said after the game that it was a great football game, and anytime you got the 2 best teams in football playing, you're going to have a great football game. It was a shame that one of them had to lose. And
Chuck came in, and he says, I'll tell you one thing about Oakland. They think they won the Super Bowl yesterday. And the team went crazy. Guys started jumping up and cheering.
And he says, well, I just want you to know, I think the best damn football team is sitting right here in this room. And, you know, that's very strong language for Chuck Noll at that point. He later he developed the ability to rattle it off pretty good later on, but that was really out of character for him. And, it was like we got a blessing to go out and beat up on some people, push some people around, and that was all we needed.
It all went back to that point that Chuck came in and with the most determination I've ever seen on a man's face, but with sort of a sly grin on his face when he says, they think they won the damn Super Bowl yesterday. From that point on, the Pittsburgh Steelers became the best team in football.
They were 4-time NFL champions, and they remained championship contenders throughout a 23-year period that saw 170 NFL head coaches come and go.
Chuck always maintained the steady level. And whether we were playing extremely well or we were playing poorly, he never got excited. And he kept us on an even keel, and I think that had a lot to do with our success.
No, pressure did not get to Charles Henry Noll. Indeed, his zest for life and his wisdom about the parallels of life and football served Chuck Noll well through a remarkable career. It spanned many generations. From the Immaculate Reception
And there's a collision. And it's cut out of the air. The ball is pulled in by Franco Harris. Harris is going
to unprecedented Super Bowl glory, to the inspiring 1989 playoff success that followed an 0-2 regular season start.
The game of football is something special. And probably the thing that I appreciate most about football is that it teaches you humility, because as soon as you start thinking you're pretty good, things can get tough, and it makes you dig down deep and find out what things are all about.
He understood not just football, but he understood life. I always liked the saying that Chuck had, that you never arrive. And at the time, what he was saying to us was, sure, you won a championship, but there are more mountains to climb, and that you never really get there. There's always more you can do. You can always get better.
He talked about life being a journey, and you never arrive. You never get where you want to be. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Just a joke that those were trite sayings, but they were so true. And life is like that. And as I go through life and business problems, I always relate back to what Chuck Noll taught us.
He grew up on the east side of Cleveland, the son of a butcher. He grew into the ultimate teacher whose lessons will never be forgotten.
It's amazing today that when I have the opportunity to go out and speak to groups and to businesses, is that so much what I talk about and so much of what I believe in had come from Chuck Noll, had come from his philosophy on how you achieve, how you become a success. And it's so much a part of me. And as I talk to other teammates, Chuck is a part of every one of them, and they'll admit that.